Howdy YouTube, howdy world, your old pal George Bush Pimps, the new and improved George Bush Pimps. I know they've been few and far between, but there's more coming. It just takes me time to write them. I much rather prefer this to the unfiltered. Unfiltered can get you into trouble. Believe me, I know. When you think things through and you write them down, well, they come out a little clearer, and I think maybe people respect you a little more. And if they don't, well, then guess what? I'm still George Bush Pimps. Evolutionary Stagnation. Humanity as a whole has suffered the past few hundred years from a sickness, the sickness being stagnation. Once beings capable of original thought, social and artistic evolution, they have become void of any descriptive qualities regarding inner light. Sure, here and there we find pockets of the enlightened and aware. This is to be expected, but humanity as a whole suffers from a total stop in personal evolution. The powers that be know this as well, as what evolution there is at all is tightly regulated and controlled. Indeed, most of the daily bitches and moans of the average truther, the executive orders, the laws rushed into practice, and new agencies being formed, all have one specific purpose: to separate you from the light, that you may dwell in the darkness of evolutionary stagnation. Human beings, more than any other creature in this world, are capable of defending and providing for themselves. In the olden times, it was this responsibility that adhered to every living soul in any society. No one is going to do it for you. It's your duty to yourself. It was a way that humanity stayed in touch with itself through learning kinship and cooperation with their fellow humans. And we were prosperous and continued to be so for thousands of years. When thinking of controlling a society or a group through cessation of its evolutionary process, one must consider the appropriate triggers. Many could have been used, as they have made attempts throughout time, but only one has remained, and even in a completely enlightened society will remain, and that is fear. Fear is the motivator the powers that be use most often to push their will onto weak and putty-like minds, waiting for others to do their duties of shaping and molding and creating for them. They deny their own personal responsibilities and allow outside forces to decide and make choices for them, without them as an individual even realizing there has been a choice made. And this is all due to a socially stigmatic fear bred into the beings of the so-called first world on Earth. Fear of the unknown, where curiosity once caused evolution. Fear of those we perceive as better, where determination and competition once created men and women. Fear of ourselves. Fear that keeps us inside and away from our fellow man. Fear that keeps us from the true adventure of self-discovery through sacrifice and loss and the adaptation required to overcome. Fear keeps us in our place, and fear keeps us in the dark. We the people are not afraid. We the people are not going to allow ourselves to be dominated by that which causes fear. We shall face and overcome it, and show fear we are not moved by its misty hands and forthright ways. We shall see through its agents, its doomsayers and liars. We the people, through diligence, determination, and spunk, deny that resource to the powers that be. And still daily the agents and sultry soothsayers of fear give their poisonous doses of lies and propaganda. Urgent, must watch, earth-shattering changes on the horizon. Dead people said so thousands of years ago. It must be true. Urgent, live in fear, fear more. If there's not enough in the world to fear, fear this instead. This is worse. Now, where there is a portion of the MSN dedicated to keeping you on edge, in fear, and worried, do you not think that in an alternative media there would be these sections as well? Would not highly sophisticated structural organizations set to control an entire world population not see the usefulness of manipulating the common man directly through his personal ideals and intellectual soft spots? Now more than ever it is easier to control because we have started doing it for them as a matter of instinct. Sheep watching sheep. The so-called awakened, only sheep in the same pen who can see the fence, egotistically braying at the others out of a superiority they have not rightly claimed. They're just as afraid, just as fooled, and just as tasty when served rare with a bit of mint sauce. We are no better for being enlightened than those ignorant, As we can only see the pen, they cannot. We are still trapped in the same situation, with men who will oversee us, men who will dominate us, and men who will have sustenance and warmth from our flesh. And still in the same prison, still in the same situation, it is fear that keeps us apart, fear that keeps us so close yet so far away. And only by overcoming this fear may we be able to, as a whole race, and not just as each other, move into the next world in peace, and have opportunity to achieve greatness in this universe. The real truthers are never seen, as when they notice the fence, they're unafraid and leap over it and away from damnation. And if we all jumped the fence at once, imagine what the shepherds would look like the next morning when they awaken to no sheep. Or be eaten by savages no better than you. Your choice. I hope you make it yourself.